time for Scam Alert. Yes, I do this every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Even though I'm starting off a little bit late today. And it's on how to identify and avoid rental scams in Nigeria. And something that I saw in the news kind of felt the need to bring up this topic where we have so many real estate investment companies, properties out there, and people see real estate as the new oil and other amazing stuff. But hey, rental scam is still remains one of the biggest and hugest scams, especially here in Lagos. Sometime last week, I saw the story of a lady on Instagram. Yes, on Instagram, where she said they gave them a quick notice for January, and she was still in the house. Even on that very day, she got dressed, went to work, and before she came back, she met that they already did bricklaying work in their sitting room, demarcating the room, and she found all her things outside. Not even just that, there was still another story of a particular building where I think like how many people paid for a particular room. I've had friends who are falling victim to this particular scam as well, where you have like maybe 10 people pay for the same apartment. 10 people for the same apartment. Over the years, rental scam has unfortunately become a familiar scare because most house owners have to experience to get what they want. So if you've ever fallen for one or you've never, do consider yourself really lucky, especially in this Lagos. I've heard things like people saying, oh, the best time to rent a house in Lagos is during the rainy season, so it helps you know if the house is always flooded, if the rooms are always damp and all. However, victims who are falling for him had to suffer some level of undue financial and psychological stress. I tell you, a lot of psychological stress. Aside the financial aspect of it, losing money and all that, it can be humiliating as well. Because it has been observed to result to depression for some people, probably because they would have to start the search all over again. Getting a new apartment is a really daunting task. I never really used to understand it, not up until recently that I did a search with a friend of mine, and I tell you that some real estate agents really need to do better, even landlords, especially in this Lagos, especially in Lagos here. There was a particular house we went to. The ground floor of the house was already complete, people were already living there and all, but the first floor was not completed yet. They've not done the fittings, electrical work and all that. And the agents told us that, oh, if we pay, they would use our money to fix our own flat. And I was like, how does that, why will I pay you to fix the flat for me to now move in? How does it handle? How am I sure that you're not doing the same to other people? How does that even give me the assurance that that flat belongs to me? So different tactics that most of these real estate agents use to swing to people. So how do you spot them, and how do you avoid falling victim? First, most of them will say, oh, you can't inspect the property or the apartment. One of the major aspects of even buying a property or renting one is inspecting the property. It is very important that you do that, because what if it doesn't meet your specification? So one of the simple ways to judge if you're about to be scammed is, if the agent acts all cagey when you request to inspect the apartment in question, they start giving you excuses. But it's important to also be as alert if they make it literally impossible for you to inspect the property, because they will come up with several excuses, but the end goal is the same. They do not want you to inspect the apartment or property. And I tell you, the really cunning and smart ones will go as far as telling you that they are out of town, which means they're not physically available to arrange an inspection, and in most cases they will ask you to hold on till they get back, which is just a tactic or a scheme they use to buy time for themselves, to cook up their lives even more. So anyone that keeps you away from an apartment or property you intend to either rent, buy or lease should be and alert for a potential scam. Do not fall for the trick regardless of the excuse they come up with. And these people, they are fantastic at lying and telling fake stories, to create that sense of urgency in you. Another one is, if the transaction seems urgent to the agent, this is another sign you should be wary of when going on house hunting or property hunting, because it is the kind of amount pressure to make you make an early financial commitment, and it is one of the tactics they use to make you pay even before an inspection. This is a red flag and a potential symptom of a rental scam, because the biggest tactic they use is with unsuspecting victim is saying that they've received lots of application and offer from potential tenants. Like 5 people have come here to check. Oh, I'm waiting. Once they just pay, that is the end. Do not fall for it, because the goal here is to lure you to make that immediate financial commitment, and once it's done, you are hooked. And what follows is barely a familiar plot to nail the coffin of deception. So keep your eyes out there. Rental scams are very, very real. Also, if the rental amount sounds like a big steal, you know normally, or how much they rent houses in particular areas. You would have asked people around, because most times they all out share the same figure and all that, except for some houses that the landlord does the rental by him or herself. You may find out that they may be a little bit cheaper or lesser. But if the rental amount is too good to be true, I tell you, it's important that you be wary. If what you're being asked to pay as rent is way cheaper than the value of what you should have been asked to pay, then this is another sign of a scam move. Because one way to find out the value of an apartment or property is through research, and by research you could ask people in the neighborhood, because most times they share the same pricing as well, because they talk to each other, they go to the same landlord association meeting, and most times they agree on same prices. So you can check trusted real estate websites or companies to compare prices as well, reputable ones that put their prices. Another way to achieve this is through a real estate expert that is legitimate. If the figure still falls below what you should be paying for the apartment, then it is most likely a trap to lure you in. So do your research. Also, another trick they use, if the building is yet to be completed, just like the story I told you. But although here in Lagos, there was something I found out, that in some environments, even especially when it comes to shops, even before those stores or shops are even completed, people have already paid for it. And I tell you, because it happened in my former area. There was this new building that someone bought and renovated and all. We went to make an inquiry for one of the shops, and they said all the shops have already been paid for. No fittings, no doors, nothing yet, and it has been paid for. So if an agent or developer takes you to an uncompleted building and almost immediately asks you to start paying up in order to secure it before others do, it is a sign of a scam, just like they did to my friend and I, asking us to pay so they can use our money to do fittings in the house. Because a lot of unsuspecting victims have been duped through this means. Because these agents go as far as allowing you to inspect the property even while construction is ongoing. Because the trick here is to show the same apartment to as many unsuspecting victims as they can, because they make payments without even ever clashing, because the agent schedules different inspections for different days. So one way to avoid this is to work with a property lawyer or a real estate expert or a reputable real estate company whose years of experience can be relied on to avoid falling into such traps. Also, through pictures, if pictures are all you've gotten, they only send you pictures. It has happened though to so many people. They will only send them pictures, and do not fall for it, because no matter how captivating the pictures of an apartment shown to you by a real estate agent is, it cannot replace an actual inspection. And I tell you this because it still happened to a friend of mine too. She said that she went, they sent her pictures and all. She couldn't go to look up the place, and she just felt it was okay. The agent was there making videos. She saw everything paid and all. Went to his office, collected the key. That it was the first week that she moved in that rain fell. That it reality checked in. That she had a reality check. Because there are millions of images online that a scammer can easily download and present to you. However, it's okay to have images shown to you, but don't be naive enough to believe that once these are shown to you, everything checks out as being legitimate. No, that's not the case. Because in a situation where these images are emailed to you or even sent via WhatsApp or any social media platform, you can verify their authenticity by doing a Google reverse search. Yes, to see if they pop up in a totally different listing, or if it's someone's house that they just copied from the internet and sent to you. So do that as a way to protect yourself. Also, if it is impossible to meet the real owner, although not in all cases, because most times some owners like to put real estate agents or companies in charge of their properties. However, but in some cases where the owner lives in that house and the agent is, stopping you from seeing the person and all, it's a red flag, I tell you, because meeting the owner legitimizes the rental. So if you're renting a house, insisting on seeing the documents and all, a popular tricks that some of these con artists use is to tell you that the necessary document will be sent to you. No, do not fall for it. Make sure you collect your receipt. It's very important, because this trick is used to trap you, so that you do not meet the legitimate owner of the property. So in a situation where the document is eventually shared with you, but the name on it does not match the name of the person who claims to be the landlord, this should mark the end of your conversation. Do your own research as well. Also, offering to sublease, another trick. Subleasing remains one of the riskiest waters to navigate in real estate, and this is because you put yourself in a situation where you would be paying for an apartment that does not have your name on the original lease agreement that was signed. So verifying the claim that this lease agreement leaves room for subleasing is another headache entirely that I'm sure you don't want to go through. So you should be careful not to make any financial commitment to such an arrangement as well. But however, one safe way to go about this is to get the original tenant to include your name in the original lease agreement that was signed, or you can set up an agreement with that tenant as well concerning your whole situation as well. So however, it's important to know that if the sublease is forbidden in the lease agreement and you pay for the apartment without knowing this, both you and the original tenant can be ejected by the landlord. So let's take note of some of these very, very tricky and technical things. Also, doing no research whatsoever can put you at risk of getting scammed. However, my final thoughts on this is that it's important to always trust your instinct, because we all have that inner voice that tells us things when we're about to make a very life altering decision. Always trust your guts. If something tells you that something is not right, follow your guts, do your research, and be in the clear about everything. Do not make decisions based on, oh, I need an apartment today, and you just quickly rush into it. And then when you're into it already, you see that, oh, it is not what it's supposed to be. So let's keep our eyes peeled out there. More to come for you on the afternoon business show at 2 p.m. We'll take SME for you guys this afternoon. They see you in One Business Radio.